Hello. Now, apologies, it is a little bit cliche, but it's that time of year when people tend to step back and reassess their goals. And if one of those things you're thinking about is your mode of transport, whether that's for work or leisure or school trips, then maybe this video might just help. Here are 5 reasons to get an e-bike in 2024. Number 1, health. E-bikes are proven to help the mind, body and soul. I'm talking about mental health as much as heart, lungs and limbs. The beauty is you can tailor your fitness goals to your journey. You want to take it easy, whack the power modes up. You want a challenge, then ride it like a normal bike. And of course, everything in between.
You know, being a dad of 2 young kids, I don't get that many chances to exercise. So being able to do this every morning is just my little injection of a bit of exercise, especially when I get to London and I can try and beat all the other bikes with this electric bike. It's good fun.
I'm trying to get fit, you see, because I'm trying to lose weight and just get fit because I've got out of it. And I just literally put it on when I get towards a hill and then turn it off again when I get to the top.
At my age, it's the difference for me between going out on a bike and not bothering, because I know I can always get home.
Now, I'm quite an active person, but this is still perfect for those days I want to go out and have an adventure without breaking a sweat. So for example, I can go out for an 8-hour hike one day, and then the next day I can go out for a 2-hour cycle on this bike without being totally exhausted, which by the way makes this a fantastic tool for recovery.
It's a bit of exercise, not so much that I build up a sweat getting into work, so it means I don't have to wash and change or have a shower by the time I get in. And yes, it's not completely free of exercise value. So yes, it's a good balance really between those two.
If I want to have a bit more of a workout, then I can just turn the assist down and just use the gears, that's fine.
Even though I've got these conditions that are debilitating, I can still ride. I can ride as far as I want to go. I can do all the things that I used to do. I can get all of the sensations that I used to get with the help of an e-bike.
Now, if you find yourself in a bit of an argument with someone who claims that e-bikes aren't as good for your health as normal bikes, then firstly, probably try and find something better to argue about. But secondly, get them to consider the swathes of people who only ride because of e-bikes. And this is the key point. Those people for whom if e-bikes weren't an option, they wouldn't ride at all. For this growing group of people, the health benefits of e-bikes are undeniable. On top of that, and mainly because e-bikes encourage riding further and longer, quote unquote, those who ride e-bikes officially get more exercise minutes per week than those who ride normal bikes. Case closed. Too soon? Recently, Cycling Electric raised the valid question of why cycling budgets in the UK have been cut at a time when obesity, say, is costing the UK 100 billion a year. There are 1.2 million obesity-related hospital admissions annually. It's obviously not a miracle, nor the only cure, but not that long ago, the government promoted active travel as a prescription to boost health, and for good reason.
So I've already felt the benefits physically. I'm feeling a lot healthier. My mental health is improved. My appetite's improved because I'm needing to eat more to keep up. And I think the nice thing as well is that even though it's an electric bike, you don't have to use that. So you still get those benefits of just using a pure bicycle.
This is the same government that said air pollution is the biggest environmental health threat to the UK population. On the benefits of health alone, it's not that hard to connect the dots. More people exercising while travelling, fewer people sitting on their bums chucking out exhaust fumes equals a healthier population for all. And on that subject, number 2, the planet. According to the European Environment Agency, road traffic accounts for about 1/5 of EU CO2 emissions. Of course, we believe that e-bikes can cut that a lot as more people learn that e-bikes are a sustainable and greener alternative to cars, buses, taxis, etc. They're also cheaper and more sociable, but we'll come to that later. The key thing is, it's the short journeys that hurt the most. So if e-bikes can be used instead of cars, say, for those short journeys to work or to school or to your mate's house or to the shops, then we can start to make a real difference.
You know, we try to drive as little as possible and cycle everywhere we can. It sets a really good example to my kids, and it's just the best way to get around.
Now, we're not naive to the fact that there are more parts to an e-bike. More components, more batteries, etc., etc. These things mean that the initial footprint is, of course, greater than a normal bike. But as I said earlier, e-bikes are proven to get more people riding further and for longer, and that collective time spent on 2 wheels is a great thing for the planet because it means less time collectively spent in the car. Check out these numbers from the Federal Environment Agency. If you only consider the time spent on the road with your e-bike, the power consumption results in an average CO2 emissions value of around 2 grams per kilometre, depending on the power mix, of course. In comparison, a car emits about 152 grams of CO2 per passenger kilometre, while public transport emits between 50 and 111 CO2 per kilometre. We urge you to look into this kind of thing yourself because there's loads of different studies out there, but of course, the theme is kind of the same. Waste is a big thing, and at Estarli we really believe in maintaining our bikes and batteries as much as possible so they live for as long as possible. We recondition battery packs in order to extend their lives, and in the design and build process we use reclaimable materials like aluminium. We've also removed all plastic from our packaging, but of course we know that we can still do more, so we're going to launch a few initiatives this year, so watch this space. Researchers from the University of Leeds found that e-bikes could reduce carbon dioxide emissions in the UK by as much as 50%. That's a big number. Now, of course, lots of journeys by e-bike aren't possible, and there are caveats to all this, but just to consider if the e-bikes could even cut emissions by 25%. What a result that would be. But the government and local councils need to play their part as well in making sure that road safety and infrastructure is as good as it can be so that more people find it easier to make the step onto e-bikes. But if you get an e-bike, you're only going to be heaping pressure on those people to make the change. Okay, the eagle-eyed ones might have noticed it looks a little bit different now. I popped out on the cargo bike to film something for 2 hours, came back, and it's practically pitch black. Don't you love the UK this time of year? No, didn't think so. 3, wallet. E-bikes aren't cheap, of course. We don't pretend they are, and we try and do everything we can to make sure they're as affordable as possible. Lots of people have tried to compare the cost of having an e-bike versus having a car. The Electric Bike Shop, one of our retail partners, has done just that, and this is what they discovered. For a car averaging 35 miles to the gallon, 1,000 miles would take 29 gallons or 130 litres. And at £1.50 a litre, 1,000 miles in this car would cost £195. For an e-bike with an average range of 50 miles on a full battery, which costs 30p to charge, 1,000 miles will require 20 charges at 30p, so the total fuel cost for the e-bike would be £6. So fuel costs for e-bikes are 0.03% of a car. Even if you've calculated it and come up with a slightly different figure, you're certainly going to be on that side of the fence. E-bikes are a lot cheaper to run than cars. Throw in insurance and parking and repairs, the gulf becomes huge. Even if you buy a second-hand car for the same price as an e-bike, over time, the savings are still really significant.
If I decide I want to just pop down the shop, I could just take the bike, take my lock, my bag and my basket, and it's so quick. Straight down the hill, get shopping, put it back in my basket, back home again, and I've got a little bit of exercise, saved a bit of money on my fuel, so, you know, fresh air. It's all a pleasure, really. I love it. Yeah, got everything I need.
On top of that, you can save 25 to 42% off the cost of a new e-bike through Cycle to Work schemes. These schemes are essentially government incentives designed so that you can pay for the bike over a period of time through salary sacrifice, which means you can essentially hire the bike off your employer and pay it off over time, and then at the end of that period, the ownership can be transferred. Okay, the fourth one is speed. Now, the truth is only you are going to know if your daily trips or commutes are going to be quicker on an e-bike versus the transport you already use. We'd obviously recommend that you give it a try and you come and see us, or you go and see one of our retail partners and test out an e-bike for one of your journeys. What we can talk about with authority is the speed of commuting in this town, Berkhamsted, where our factory is. This is one of those classic valley towns, which is a real commuter hub to London. And when it was built, it all made sense, but now there are too many houses, too many cars, and the roads are really congested, especially at busy times for people going to work and doing the school run. Unfortunately, that means it literally grinds to a halt at peak hours, and people who are cycling can ride on through blissfully and not have the stress of traffic jams and parking.
I live about a 10-minute drive away from where I work. In the mornings or the evenings, when I can just sail past this on my comfy bike, put my power assist on to get up a little bit of a hill like this, it's just amazing.
In the mornings, the town centre is just gridlock, so it takes my wife twice as long to drive as it does for me to go on the bike.
Short commute to work. Journeys are only about 25 minutes. It really takes the frustration of waiting at bus stops away or being on a crowded tube, which is punishingly boring and frustrating.
My commute now is just, it makes me feel giddy. I feel happy when I'm cycling now.
And finally, number 5, community. Something we really believe in here is that people who ride more become much more invested in the communities with which they live or work or both. I guess it's the tangible stuff. You see more, you smell more, you hear more. You end up living and breathing it. We think that helps people better connect, and when they connect more to the places they live and the people in it, good things happen.
If I'm driving my usual commute, I'm just on those straight roads. But on the bike, I can take those little turn-offs, and I've found little adventures myself within the city that I already know.
It just makes you realise I could have done this underground, but I was in fresh air in the greatest city in the world. And it's kind of emotionally just one of the most incredible things that's happened to me in my adult life, just having a bike again.
Okay, to conclude, if it's starting to feel like your car and rail journeys don't make much sense in the current climate, then they probably don't. And if you were to switch to an e-bike, then you're probably going to find out that it's a lot cheaper for you and a lot faster. One thing that's for sure is that it's going to make your health and the health of the people on your route and the whole planet a lot better. Thanks very much for tuning in. If you want to hear more, especially from our customers, check out our YouTube page, because there you can see a whole series of my Estarli stories. And of course, if you want to test ride an Estarli, get in touch with us or go to the test ride tab on our website and you can find the store closest to you.